COVID-19 rises to almost 6,000 in Nigeria. Presidential task force briefs President Muhammadu Buhari on situation, plus more successes in security operations across the country. These and more on Panorama, reaching you live from Abuja. I'm Elizabeth Omori. We'll be right back. Nigeria has recorded the highest figure of the daily infections record of coronavirus on Sunday with 338 new cases. Lagos leads with highest number of 177, followed by Kano, which has 64, while the FCT is having 21 fresh cases. Others are Rivers 16, Plateau 14, Oyo 11, Katsina 9, Jigawa and Kaduna 4 each, Abia, Bauchi and Borno 3 each, Akwa Ibom, Gombe and Delta have 2 each, Ondo, Kebbi and Sokoto 1 each. Now Nigeria has 5,959 cases as at 11 p.m. Sunday 17th of May 2020. 1,594 have recovered, while 182 died of the virus. As the initial period of the ease in coronavirus lockdown draws to an end, President Muhammadu Buhari held a strategic meeting on the best way forward with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. The chairman of the task force and secretary to the government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, gave a hint that new measures and processes may be introduced in the renewed fight against the uncommon health challenge. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Keeping everything in perspective in the battle against the coronavirus pandemic, members of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 once again converged on the nation's seat of government. They are here to compare notes with President Muhammadu Buhari on Nigeria's response to the unseen enemy of mankind as the period for the ease in lockdown comes to an end on Monday. Discussions centered on the activities of the task force, effectiveness or otherwise of the measures introduced so far towards containing the pandemic, as well as available options for future engagement.
What proposals were brought today for consideration of Mr. President, looking at it holistically, it will put us in a better frame to deal with the future. Because we are in for a long haul. This is not a short distance race, it's a marathon, and we have to keep everything in perspective.
The Presidential Task Force remains worried that although a recent opinion poll shows majority of Nigerians being aware of coronavirus, their adherence to the rules of engagement in the fight against the disease leaves much to be desired.
What we intend to do now as a task force is to come down to the level of having the communities take ownership of the response. Let the communities acknowledge the fact that there's a COVID-19 that is deadly, that it can ravage their health and their wealth. And the most important thing for them to do is to begin to take personal responsibility on dealing with it. All of them should be overseers of their communities. They should watch out for people who have symptoms for testing and isolation. That way you plug them out of the community and you reduce the risk of further transmission.
During the meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the task force and those in the front line for their commitment and patriotism in the onerous task of eliminating COVID-19 in Nigeria.
The President expressed his appreciation to all the agencies that have contributed to where we are today, and that in spite of the difficulties and the fact that as a nation we lack the capable infrastructure, looking at what is happening to the developed world, where countries that have traditionally established health institutions with all the palliatives, with all the privileges, with all the schemes that guard its people have crumbled at the wreck of COVID-19. But we are still standing, doing our best in the circumstances to ensure that at least we provide the necessary directions.
Mr. Bas Mustafa says the PTF is yet to take delivery of the Madagascan cure for coronavirus, saying, however, that even after doing so, President Buhari's position that such herbal postulations be dealt with scientifically remains sacrosanct. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still on COVID-19, in the wake of recommendations by the Ministerial Task Force on COVID-19, Sokoto State Government is evolving strategic plans in partnership with the federal government and other technical partners to curb the spread of the disease. This came to the fore when the Ministerial Task Force paid an assessment visit to Sokoto State. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports.
The visit of the Ministerial Task Force is in line with the directives of the Federal Ministry of Health over concerns on the unexplained death in the state. The team, which worked with the State Task Force on COVID-19 to visit some health facilities and cemeteries, was also at the government house to brief the governor on their mission. They observed that the state government has an excellent work plan which needs to be transformed, acknowledging the testing and holding capacity, mass use of face masks, and possession of a fleet of ambulances for rapid response purposes. The team, however, advised that adequate accommodation be provided for the doctors and nurses taking care of COVID-19 patients to avoid risks of taking the virus to their families after treating the patients.
They need a strategic plan that has to be holistic, longer term, and more ambitious, because there are several changing phases of the epidemic, and we are willing and available to support the state to finalize this.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol told the visiting health experts that the state government has been actively working with the relevant stakeholders to tackle the spread of the pandemic.
We shall continue to do all of those things and enforce all those measures that have given us these very, very encouraging results, both the short-term, the medium-term measures.
A formal report is expected to emanate from the Federal Ministry of Health on the visit. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And from Sokoto, let's take you to Lagos, where the State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has directed businesses and financial institutions to give priority to the elderly between the hours of 9 and 10:30 in the morning before opening to the general public. The Governor, at a press briefing on the update of COVID-19, stated that government will soon commence distribution of free face masks to hundreds of thousands of residents. Nusa Usula reports.
Lagos remains the epicenter of COVID-19 in the country, with the highest number of confirmed cases. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who confirmed extension of the partial relaxation of lockdown, urged businesses to readjust their modus operandi to accommodate social distancing and other preventive measures in event of total uplifting of the lockdown.
We're able to also treat a patient that was COVID positive through a cesarean birth. We're able to bring out a baby alive, and this is the third in a series of patients that have been COVID positive, but they've been pregnant, and they've been very successful operations taking place at each and every one of them.
Governor Sanwo-Olu threatened to revoke the operating licenses of businesses, flouting the lockdown directive of the state government.
Anytime you're in a public place, please ensure that you're wearing a face mask. It is not only to protect yourself, it's also to protect you from others. And so please, like I did mention at the last address, people need to take responsibility. We need to take full responsibility for ourselves and for our loved ones. And we cannot stop at ensuring that people do this at all times.
The governor, who frowned at the level of disregard for some of the directives by some residents and commercial bus operators, enjoined them to comply as they were put in place for their health and safety. In Lagos, Nusa Usula, NTA News.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Bas Mustafa, has described NNPC as true hallmark of a national company. He gave the commendation in Abuja at the presentation of 20 ventilators by NNPC and partners to boost the federal government's fight to curb community spread of the virus. Lydia Sampson reports.
COVID COVID-19 has unleashed a new strand of terror across the world. The good news, however, is with the fear is also the global togetherness and resolve to fight the pandemic. It is in the light of this that individuals, corporate organizations, both public and private, are donating state-of-the-art critical equipment to help in the treatment before a vaccine or cure is found. Mitros Limited and Usa Shipping France, in collaboration with the NNPC, presented the ventilators to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19.
With this, we have practically given a ventilator material to every state of the Federation and an ambulance to every state of the Federation, and we're also constructing permanent structure in at least 14 states of the Federation.
Part of our corporate social responsibility, we decided with OSEA to deliver this 20 of these modern ventilators to NNPC, knowing that it will get to the right hands.
We have all from our different and diverse backgrounds have arisen in one accord with a resolute determination and trust in ourselves and in God to ensure that this pandemic does not overwhelm us.
Boss Mustafa said it is disheartening that some Nigerians still are skeptical about the coronavirus pandemic, stressing that community engagements will continue in line with the mandate given the task force by President Muhammadu Buhari. He commended the unity of purpose by critical stakeholders in the fight against COVID-19. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has launched palliatives for micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria through free e-registration. Ken Igbelu reports that the move is to promote local manufacturing and cushion the effects of the coronavirus pandemic in the sector.
There is no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic has proven to be a serious challenge to the global economy and Nigeria inclusive. Financial experts have, however, argued that many micro, small and medium enterprises will go out of business after the coronavirus pandemic. The virtual launch by National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control is to introduce some palliative measures to assist the MSMEs in expediting e-registration of their products.
Our staff are ready to assist micro and small businesses to see this opportunity to register their products.
Let's make things easy. We know that funds will be a problem. We know that most of them were actually struggling before, and a lot of them have ideas that can actually help the economy recover. And so we sat down together and we said, look, if it's possible for us, we would like to reduce our tariff. Just even if it's just a window period, to see how they can jumpstart again. Because everywhere has been really quiet and dull. So
the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, who spoke via Zoom, said the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic have presented unprecedented opportunities for Nigeria to reset critical sector of its economy. The stakeholders' virtual meeting also provided an opportunity to strengthen the productive capacity of MSMEs in Lagos. Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
And to speak on employment and wealth generation post-COVID-19, I have with me in the studio Director General of the National Directorate of Employment, Dr. Nasir Mohammed Ladan. It's nice to have you in our studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, at this moment is most challenging in the history of the world. Jobs are being impacted negatively. How will the NDE help mitigate this in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. You see, this is a challenging time because it's something that is unexpected, but as they used to say, one should always expect the unexpected. We in the NDE, the mandate given to us by the government is to create jobs, provide employment through entrepreneurial skills development, and that is what we are doing exactly. For the question you have asked, we have a lot of intervention programs in NDE.
Okay.
Some of us are very much aware the activities of NDE is on day-to-day, throughout the year. virtually every day we have people that were training, people that are undergoing training in various trades, and people that are resettled after they finish their training, because by the time you train somebody on a trade and he graduated, if you did not settle him, either in form of cash or give him startup packs, you have wasted your time, and at the same time wasted his time, because he will still be in the same labor market. For the programs we are running, as far as the issue of COVID-19 is concerned, we concentrate more in a situation whereby we have a program called MIS, Micro Enterprises Enhancement Scheme. We have been doing that before, but we put more emphasis on it during this period.
SMEs generally?
Yes. We normally go in, people with small businesses whose capital is no more than 10,000 naira. We go in and give them 10,000 naira direct cash disbursement.
Okay.
As I'm talking to you, the last one we did was in Nasarawa State last week, where we engaged 1,000 people. And this week, another 1,000 will be given the direct cash disbursement. And of course, we have to take into consideration the period we are in. Issue of cleanliness, washing your hands, wearing face masks, and the rest of them.
Okay, I would like to ask you, how do you engage the youths in job creation?
Yeah, you see, what we normally do, we don't choose what we want you to do for yourself. We allow you to choose. And that's the reason why we send forms across. As I've said before, ND is in every part of this country. Yeah, so as I'm talking to you, in most of our centers where we have sewing machines, we started producing 20,000 face masks in every state. I know we have finished in Katsina, we are finished in Kaduna, we are on in KB, we are on in Borno, and the rest of them.
All right.
We normally engage our trainees. We pay them for that. We provide all the materials, state of the art, highly qualitative barricades, that is 100% cotton. And we use them in two-fold so that we can have a very standard face mask. So we engage them. As I'm talking to you, we are producing 20,000 face masks in each and every state for free distribution to Nigerians.
Okay, now what about taking advantage of technology, especially with the realities presented by COVID-19? Now, like you said, face masks, some people are into the business already, some into production of hand sanitizers, and some local ventilators. So how do we take advantage of this?
Well, as far as ventilator is concerned, I think it's a little bit advanced for us. We left it, we're leaving it to other ministries and prestataries to handle. But as far as issue of hand sanitizers are concerned, as I'm talking to you, one of our trainees in Kaduna is producing 25 liters jerrycan. We have samples, 4 liters gallons, and 500 mils in thousands. We take it from her, give them out to various departmental stores, because we are sure of what we are producing.
Okay.
So it's part of what we are producing presently.
Okay. All right. Now, post-COVID-19, what are we going to be seeing in terms of employment?
Well,
because the youths are waiting. Some have lost their jobs already.
Yeah, you see, post-COVID, definitely with the palliatives coming from the federal government and other supporting agencies and private companies and the rest of them, they are doing great. And we in the NDE, being a government agency and having the responsibility of creation of jobs for teaming on Nigerian unemployed youth, we are looking at various angles.
Okay.
As I have said, by the time somebody has his own business already, or he came up or she came up with a fantastic idea, is for us to make sure that at least we support him or we support her. As I'm talking to you, Wednesday, in collaboration with National Association of Market Women, FCT branch, their president, Mrs. Badmos, came to us some weeks back, And she told us that within and around FCT there are about 75 small markets. And we give her forms, 1,500 forms.
For them to fill?
Yeah, she distributed to them. They fill the forms. As I'm talking to you, by tomorrow or next tomorrow, we are going to take them in batches to our Bori Center, and we are going to give them direct cash back to each and every one of them so that they can add up to their existing businesses.
Existing business.
Yeah.
All right, we want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much for coming to enlighten us.
Thank you very much.
So there's hope after COVID-19.
Yes, and just to add to what I've said earlier, our face mask, each one of them has a special package. Each and every one of them. It's not that we're just giving them directly.
Okay.
They are put in a special package, each one of them. All right. Just to make sure of the safety and the rest of them.
No. Yeah. Wealth creation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're still watching Panorama. More to come. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now let's talk security. President Muhammad Buhari has authorized the commencement of a major military operation to sweep bandits and kidnappers out of Katsina State. A statement released by the president disclosed that a major proactive operation by special forces, which details are being kept secret, is now in progress to replace the reactive strikes against insurgent camps. To give a full effect to the exercise, a planning team is already in the state, selecting targets and making preparations for the execution of the unprecedented operation. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishakin, who has been measured in issuing official statements on the ongoing exercise, briefed the president on plans he intends to flag off shortly. President Buhari, who expressed sadness over the recent attacks in the state, extended his condolences to the families of those killed and prayed for the recovery of the injured. 20 Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa province terrorists have been killed by troops of Operation Lafia Dole in Borno State. A statement by the Coordinator Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche, indicates that the criminals, armed with mortars and rocket-propelled grenades, were intercepted on their way to attack villages in northwest Baga town. Major General Eneche notes that several arms were captured from the encounter. The Chief of Army Staff commends the troops' gallantry and directs them to remain resolute towards eradicating the criminals. Meanwhile, troops of Operation Wild Stroke deployed to Benue and Taraba states have raided the hideouts of one of the most wanted criminal gang leaders called Ghana. A statement by the Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, indicates that 2 members of the criminal gang were killed during the operation that spanned through Umtan village, Council area of Katsina Ala, local government area of Benue State. Major General Enenche notes that several arms, camouflage, and assorted charms were recovered from the operation. Machine guns, camouflage headgears, and poisons were recovered from the encounter. And now to sports. Handball Federation of the Niger commends sponsors of the Prudent Energy Handball Premier League